me see if...
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Oh, good, good. You can hear me.
Hello.
That's good. So I'm just turning down my volume a little. Okay. We made it. I'm always, I find myself on Thursday evening, 9 o'clock, kind of, oh my God, my lesson. But we managed. So, okay. So this evening, I got loads of stuff. I sent you, I don't know whether you noticed, I have prepared a video, which is not bad. It's quite nice. It's about being a fox or a hedgehog. And then we have the lesson about the language. Then we have the news, Shakespeare. And, oh yes, I wanted to carry on the second part of most common mistakes Italian speakers make when they speak English, which again, it's quite useful because remember one thing which is quite important. Sometimes people speak and you can't understand them because you have the wrong sound in your mind. A stupid example. My daughter before, she was talking about a colleague of hers loving the word col. But col to me doesn't mean anything. And that's the way the Italians pronounce the word call. So when they hear call, sometimes they can't understand it because they, of course, the brain related to something completely different. Say, oh, never heard of this. And the same with a report and the same. And again, when you speak English, if you talk about call, okay, if you're lucky enough, you get someone who's used to speaking to foreigners, he might understand what you're talking about. But if you talk to someone who's not used to foreigners, well, they can't. Okay, and there is always, I've noticed, the influx, the number of English words coming into Italian, it's phenomenal. Every day there is a new word substituting Italian words, which in a way, okay, fine, that's the way the language wants to go. On the other hand, sometimes you think, wait a minute, I do have a stupid word in Italian to define ti chiamo, facciamoci una chiamata. There's nothing wrong with it. But again, this is the way languages move. If you think about English, all the things I told you about English, look what English has done before the Italian, all absorbing words from all over the place. And so, this is the way. The important thing is, if you know both the Italian and the English, well, it's something good. If you just know the English, maybe poor you and poor your Italian. Okay, so we will start with the pronunciation. We do just a couple of things, and then after, okay, next week is going to be the break. And I read it. I went to check. I think probably tomorrow I'm sending you the famous test, the assessment test. Remember, it's called assessment test because I didn't know how to call it. But it's for you to realize what you want to, what you can understand and what you can't understand. And so once you know, for example, that you can't remember how to use the difference between must and have to, well, you tell me and we have a lesson. Okay, so this is my idea of having an assessment test, because you're very good for the simple fact that you're sitting there at 9 o'clock in the evening. I think you're heroes. So, okay, I'm going to share. Okay, this is the thing, and this is the sharing. Okay, so I can see you, and this is my password for Unipop, and these are the common. Okay, I don't know whether you have noticed. Okay, I hope you can see it properly. In the notes I sent to you last time, I summarized something I have about the schwa. The schwa being a very important sound in the English language. So let me just see. Okay. Remember that the schwa is the most common vowel sound in English. So it's everywhere. Any vowel can have this sound schwa. Doesn't matter whether it's an A, an O, a U, whatever. It doesn't really matter. The important thing is when you do not stress a vowel or a syllable, the vowel gets this sound, which is a sort of okay. So, for example, cup of tea, you see, cup of tea. Look at me, and fish and chips, because I don't put any stress. Okay. So we've done this. We've done the vowels. We've done the replacing. Remember the short e and the long e, and the same with you. And part two. Part two, very often, the Italians, of course, in Italian, there is no O sound. In Italian, you have O. And so what happens? Whenever you see a word spelled with an O, the tendency is to pronounce it O, okay? Unfortunately, it's wrong, because all these words are cold and rote and old. It's not all old, it's old. And coat and mode and road and don't. I've heard very, very often I hear don't, which again, remember, if you pronounce it properly, all the connections with links with the other words become a lot easier. And the robot, okay, it's not a robot, it's robot, because the stress again is here on the first syllable. Then pronouncing again this O, when you see it, as O instead of A. Again, some words in English, you write them with O, and the pronunciation becomes A, as in but, as in cut, as in well, give me a word. For example, let's see. We got some. Okay, the word is some, and you know that some and some are exactly the same. So you see, there is no difference between these two words. So company, and this is worry, is not worry, because again, if you go worry, then even the following R, it's easier to pronounce. Front and love and London. And this is wonder, is wonderful. It's not wonderful, it's wonderful. It's Wonder Woman. It's not Wonder Woman. Otherwise, if is a wandering woman, is a woman who walks slowly around the place, often without any particular sense and purpose. So you see that there is a difference between words, and you say comfortable. Hence, when you say, "Oh, it's nice and comfy here." Um, so all these words which the Italian usually, the Italian talk about company and worry and front and love depends, but London, I heard it so many times, and the confusion between wonder and wonder is always there. So remember, this is wonder, wonderful. Okay, while wander, pronounced with an O, means to go around and you don't really know where you're going. Okay, so be careful with this one. Then this ending is not easy because it's not an easy sound. Um, uh, so very often the Italians attach something to it. Okay, instead of saying thing, they say thing. That sometimes they pronounce it with a K, or they go thing, which is very very difficult, with a very very pronounced sound of g. Okay, so remember the ng sound. You have to press the back of your tongue on your soft palate, they say, okay? And the trick is, in Italian, it occurs in words like anche and angolo. If you say angolo, you see, try not to stress the G and you get the perfect sound, angolo, okay? And if you, and even anche, okay, so you get think and link and sink and wink and monk and thing and sing and wing and playing, okay, without exaggerating with this g sound. Then we could do the H and the R, and that's it. And then we call it a day. The H, a silent H, can be found. Remember that apart from some words which you all know, there are 4 words where you do not pronounce the H at the beginning: honest, honor, and hour. Okay, or of course all the derivatives go the same way, but there are these four words. Okay, you only have to remember this. So forget about the H. All the other words at the beginning you do pronounce the H. Okay, and so you have a hug, you have hunt, you have hearse, heart and hall and hate and hope. So you need to pronounce the H at the beginning because, for example, otherwise, if you don't, you get confused, between hate, 8 and 8. And there is a big difference between hate and 8 and 8. So the H is important. In Italian, you don't pronounce it at the beginning because anno, and when is in the middle, you use it to make either the C or the G hard. Okay. In English, instead, you need to pronounce it. Okay, so remember, at the beginning, you always go and then you pronounce the word. Home, for example, have. So don't say have, home and ate, because otherwise you are saying something completely different. And so remember about honest, honor, and our. And remember, for example, that and are exactly the same. Heir. Your heir is the person you leaving all your money when you die, and air is what you breathe in and out. Okay. And so again, remember that sometimes you might hear some English people dropping the initial H, but it's more a dialect, a regional pronunciation. Okay. And if you are British and you come from a certain region in Britain, you do it and it's fine and people understand you. But if you are a foreigner, if possible, please do make your H's heard. Okay. Difficult sounds. In Italian, the R is pronounced. Okay. For example, you even double it as in burro. Okay. And your tongue sort of vibrates. Um, the English R is a very smooth sound. It's not rolled, so you don't roll it. It's roll in. Your tongue goes back towards your palate, and you go row, right, wrong, red, right, ground. You see, it's not r. Okay. There are a lot of words with silent R, for example. What you do, the trick, you make the vowel before the R quite a bit longer, and you get the sound. And so you go fork and bird and girl and where, iron and cart. You see, if you make it nice and long, then you can skip the R. Okay. R is only pronounced. Remember that I'm talking about standard British English, because the Americans pronounce the R a lot more. In British English, you pronounce the R when the next sound is a vowel sound. Okay. When it's a consonant sound, you don't pronounce it. Okay. Exception iron. You use the R in English very often to link one word to the other. So, for example, if you have a sentence, you see, here, for example, you have a word car ending with an R, and the next word is runs. So you just need to pronounce one. You don't need to pronounce car runs. You go car runs smoothly. But if you have a vowel sound, you pronounce this R, because so you can link it. My car is. Okay. And so remember, you pronounce the R in British English when the next sound is vowel sound. You don't pronounce, or you tend not to pronounce it when the next sound is consonant. Again, if you are dictating something, then you spell it out, because you go the car runs smoothly. But if you want to kind of have a sentence, you say the car runs smoothly. Okay, so this one becomes car, and so I can pronounce runs. Okay, and I think we can stop here, and we do the difficult sound next time. Go like this. Is it all clear as far as this bit? Good. If you want, I have found an article, which is this one. It's an oldish article. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, still opening. Okay. It's an oldish article I found in this magazine called The Week, which is quite nice. But it's 8 fascinating facts about the schwa. I'll send it to you so you have something to read. Okay, this is the most common vowel sound in English, where it comes from, who invented the symbol, and 8 interesting facts about it. I'll send it to you. Okay, and now, would you like to watch the video? Shall we do the video? You tell me. Yeah, good. Yeah, why not? The video, I'm going to open the video while we're here. Wait. And first, right. Okay, let me see if you can you see it properly? Good. So a video. First of all, this video, the title is, "Are you a hedgehog or a fox?" Okay. Do you know what a hedgehog is? Yes, those kind of nice animals. You find them sometimes in gardens. And do you know why are they called hedgehogs? Yeah, but why hedgehog? What's hedge? Let's go like this. Okay, hedge. You might have it in your garden if you get one. Very good. A hedge is a sort of a fence, usually looking like a bush, a boundary between your garden and next door garden. Have you ever heard of hedge funds? Hedge funds in, for example, if you go to the bank and you want to invest some money, because it's a sort of shelter. Okay, because it's a hedge. Okay, that's hence the name, because hedge provides shelter. So this is the first bit. Hog. Hog, it's poor thing. It's a male pig, and the poor thing has been castrated. Okay. Exactly. The hedgehog, you find the hedgehogs in hedges. They're very shy animals. Hog, if you look at it, in the nose and etc., it looks like a small pig, a very, very small pig. And so hog, hedgehog, it's the name. And do you know other meanings for hogs? What's hog? Riccio. I think I don't know the difference between a porcupine and a hedgehog. I think one is bigger than the other, but it's the same difference between un riccio e un porcospino. I'm not very good. They're very nice. They're very cute. If you're hogging, for example, top hogging, what are you doing? If I say, sometimes it's very irritating. You know, you are on the motorway driving along and you find someone in front of you going extremely slowly and keeping all the traffic behind. And it's road hog or even hogger. Sorry, this G goes in here. Okay, because to hog also means to monopolize. You basically, you take up more space than it's fair than, for example, in the morning, everybody, you know, in the family, everybody's rushing and etc. And someone is in the bathroom and stays in for an hour and a half because he's hogging. Okay, so this is another meaning of hog. And now we can start with our exercise. So before you watch the video, do the following exercises based on the video clip. So again, I took out all these words from the script, and first we go through the words so that when you listen to the video, you find it a lot easier to understand. So what's spiky? Do you think it's flavored with strong spices, having sharp points, costing a lot of money, noticeable and eye-catching? Yes. It's having sharp points. Spikes are very pointy and very sharp things you can find even on fences. Sometimes you find spikes. There was a fashion with hair, with people having spiky hair looking like hedgehogs. Okay, so something spiky is something which has very sharp points. Then we have overarching. Do you think it's deformed or contorted, covering many things, difficult to understand or unimportant? Yes, someone says a, no, remember over, okay, very often if you use it as a prefix means a lot. Overwork means you work a lot. Overtime means extra time. Overarching, an arch covers a lot of stuff. Overarching covers a lot of things. Okay, answer is this one. So something overarching means that the extension of the arch is quite big, and so including a lot of stuff. Then we have muddle. Muddle along. Let's see. You say, someone says CCC, ANC. Okay, muddle along, as someone says, move forward very slowly and carefully. There is something missing here. in a confused or unplanned way. Because if you muddle, remember that you really can't, it's not that you can't see, but you're mixed up, you're confused. If you muddle along, you continue doing something, you don't stop, but you're confused. So you have no plan, so it's more C. Yes, there is confusion added to the moving forward. You can also, you can say, muddle through something. If you do it, you know, you don't do it very well, because again, because there is confusion. This is the important thing. Then we have our vacillating fox. Most nearly very confident, changing opinion, often quiet and shy, or highly experienced. Yeah, because vacillating is a nice, easy word, because if you're vacillating, your balance is not very good, and so means that you're changing opinions. You're not really sure. Okay, you're always in between, in two minds. Okay, and now find the synonym or synonyms of you put someone or something to the test. Can be more than one. Okay, A, C, D, A and D, yes, A and C. Yeah, very good. So if you put someone or something to the test, definitely you test it out. Definitely if you put it to the test, it's very sort of challenging. So you make heavy demands because you want to see whether this person or thing can do give you the results you want. Definitely D, because it's very similar to make heavy demands, because you challenge somebody's or something's performance. You want to see whether this thing works or not, or can do what you want. Oops, what have I done? Okay, and I'll just go here. Right. It's not definitely not approve of somebody or something unconditionally. Okay, and we nearly finished with this. Forecasts. Forecasts, what are they? Yes. They can only be referred to the future, because you see, fore means before, cast is when you start looking towards something, so you look towards the future, so, and you predict it. The weather forecast, for example, weather forecast for the weekend, I don't think is too good. Then we have this nice word, renowned. Is it very famous, instantly forgettable, quite popular, or up to date? Okay, so definitely A, very famous, and definitely one. Well, it's more than quite popular. Let's see, can I ask you? Let's see. So we have popular. Then we have famous. Renowned. And let's throw in the last one. Notorious. Okay. What's the difference between popular, famous, renowned, and notorious? So popular, okay. So notorious is, for example, known. Daniela was saying, and Dario, known for bad reasons. Bad reasons. Okay. So notorious is negative. And we've done it. Infamous, yes, yeah, can be. If you're notorious, she's notorious, or he's notorious, is because everybody knows about this person because of something bad. Okay. Renowned instead is the opposite. So known for good, respectable reasons. Okay. A lot of people, you are rinomato. Yes, you're right. And what about popular and famous? Famous means that everybody knows this person. So known by a lot of people. Okay. Doesn't matter whether you VIP, doesn't matter whether you're good, nice, fantastic, and etc. You're famous. There are some actors who are very nice people and they're famous, and some actors who are not particularly nice people and they're still very, very famous. Okay. Instead, popular, remember that is liked by everybody. Yes, if you're popular, means that everybody knows about you and everybody likes you. Okay, and so this is the difference. So I would say renowned, I would stop with the very famous, because again, could be famous, but we don't know whether everybody likes this thing or not. Okay, so these are the difference. So we got number 8. A sage is someone who is very good. Yes, definitely. A sage is very wise. And also, someone said very sensible. Again, remember, sensible is a false friend. Means sensible in English means that you can use your common sense. You are wise. You can talk about in winter you should wear sensible shoes, for example, or sensible clothes, meaning use your brain and choose in winter, yes, choose something which, is good for the season. Um, a sensible person, for example, when it, okay, you if you go out and you haven't got very much money and you go out, walk into Gucci and buy a bag there, that's not very sensible if you have got a lot of money. Okay, so sensible is more judicious in English. But sage, some Nicoletta was also saying, yes, sage. I have a plant outside on my balcony, and pasta with butter and sage. It's very nice. Okay. And now we're going to hardly. Hardly. What's the meaning of hardly? Someone, I got everything. Definitely not A. It's quite the opposite. Hardly is just these two. Remember that. Wait, I'll go here. Hard is an adjective. So, you are a hard woman. Okay, really sort of hard and strong and etc. A hard task. When it comes to becoming an adverb, hard stays hard. So I work hard. Think hard. Tup, tup, tup. You see, hard is an exception. So when hard stays hard, Antonella, you haven't got it yet. Oh, you hardly, just almost, only just, very good, only just. So I work hard, think hard, but hardly. If I say, either Antonella said, I hardly got my diploma, okay, means only just. She managed, but it was. If I say that I could hardly speak, I well, not necessarily. If you could hardly speak, means scarcely. I'll write it here. Only, almost not. Scarcely. A malapena. You could hardly speak. No, you had no word would come out. Okay. If I say I hardly work, oh, that would be very, very nice, because means that probably you work a couple of days a year. Okay. Means that, or maybe, well, these days I hardly work 1 hour every so often. And so you see that hardly means only just, barely, almost not, or scarcely. So these are the real meaning. Thoroughly means completely. I thoroughly enjoyed the film means, wow, from the very beginning down to the very end, I really enjoyed that thing completely. Okay, so remember hardly. And we nearly finished this. And so we have aggregation. Aggregation, what do you think aggregation involves? Combining different sources, ignoring outside information, producing one big idea, or arguing with others. Definitely, this is quite easy, combining different sources. Then we have biases. Biases are the tools used for research, political beliefs, errors or preferences that influence thinking or academic achievements. Yes. Remember that if you are biased, you're full of prejudice. If you're unbiased, you're very, you don't. If you're unbiased, you don't discriminate. If you are biased, you discriminate a lot. Okay. Discriminare e non discriminare. Okay. Being objective or not objective, and this is bias and unbiased. And the last two, to acknowledge uncertainty. Do you think it means pretend nothing is wrong, predict events with confidence, explain everything in detail, or admit you don't know everything? Yeah, because if you acknowledge something, you admit it. You know it's there. Okay, you are aware of the fact that, you're not certain, and so you admit you don't know everything. And the last one of the vocabulary means in store for someone. If there is something in store for you, is an idiomatic expression. Means that it's being kept for you in a shop, ready to be collected. Receive a prepaid gift card. Likely or waiting to happen in the future, secured for you through an online reservation. Yeah. For example, you can say, you don't know what the future has in store for you. You wouldn't use in store for you. People can say, I can keep it in the store for you, but not in store without the article. Okay, it's been kept in the store for me, means, so you can talk about, you don't know, you never know what the future has in store for you. Okay, and this is an idiomatic expression. Then we have the pronunciation, and then we can go and watch the. Is everything clear up to now? Good. A little bit of pronunciation. Which word or words had the stress on the first syllable? I'm not pronouncing them for you. Oh, so three basically. The stress is more on the second, while just one, yes, has the stress on the first one. Okay, this one has the stress more or less here. This one has the stress more or less there. I don't know how to divide stuff in syllables, it's too difficult. And philosophy has the stress here. Okay, so we are with our facility. Okay, so this one has the stress here, and so C. Okay. So it's not D because D is philosophy. So the stress is here. It's not aggregation because the stress is down there. It's not renowned. So the stress is here. But it's vacillating. Yeah. And so it's this one. And remember that this one has the stress, and so the A in vacillating is the same as the A in cat. Okay, so it's not the philosophy, is down here. So first syllable, the only one is this. Okay, and now tell me which word contains the same vowel sound as fox. So this one. Definitely yes, not. Okay, what's the difference in pronunciation between not and not? There is no difference. Okay, very good. So not, and then let me see the others. You tell me. See, very good. Yes, and also what? What? Okay, what is the same as fox and not? But this one we know now that is front with a front, and this is London. Okay, well done. I'm not going to repeat it. So the second, is it true or false? The second H, this one, is it silent? Do I say hedgehog or hedgehog? It's false. Okay, the stress is on the first bit, and you go hedgehog, but you pronounce hedge and you pronounce hog. Is a compound word, and we will see when we start doing stresses on words that usually, I always talk usually when it comes to pronunciation, usually when you have a compound word, the stress is on the first bit, hedgehog. Okay, so, and you pronounce both. And then we have this word. The word ... is pronounced with an sk sound at the beginning. So skeptical, it is. Yes, skeptical is written like this, but is pronounced skeptical. And now, can you find the word where the G is pronounced? Doesn't matter whether it's G as in game or J as in gem. So, is it pronounced in this first word? Hedgehog? I would say yes. It's pronounced the first one, hedge, and hog, so definitely. Do I pronounce it in B? Definitely not. Foreign. So this one is, I'll go like this, is silent. Aggregate, definitely yes. What about D? Definitely not. So I go like this. Thought. And what about E? do you pronounce the G? Do you say champagne? You don't. You say champagne. Okay. Remember that in English, this sound, in Italian, you have the sound ñ, okay? In English, you don't. So when you find GN in English, either you, for example, don't pronounce it, foreign, okay, or you go gn, ignorant, magnificent, you see, because the sound ñ is very difficult. It doesn't, basically, it's not there in the language. A word like gnocchi is not a very easy word to say. So I've heard, I've heard lasagne. I've heard gnocchi, anything. So remember that this is quite difficult. So you don't pronounce it, you say champagne. And what about this word F? It's completely silent. Okay, because it's paradigm. Okay, I pronounce it in colleague. And H, yeah, bridge. Why not? It's soft, but, sorry. Bridge. Bridge is as in gem, colleague as in game, and so we're all happy. And now the last one. In this word, the silent letter or letters, which ones? Yeah, definitely A. Yes, because it's psychology. So this one is not there, because otherwise it's very difficult to say. How can you say ps? It's it's not an easy sound. So you just go psychology. And true, false. These two words are homophones. The first one is a platform on pillars projecting from the shore into the sea, similar to a quay. This one is a person of, the same age and social position, having the same abilities. Is it true or false? Why false? Okay, it is true. Because peer and peer, they are exactly the same. Basically, it's P, and I write it like this, but it's a schwa, peer. Okay. Peer is this platform, una specie di banchina, molo, thank you. Yes. While peer, have you ever heard of, for example, you write something, you write with your group, you produce some research, and you need peer revision. It's more peer revision means you ask people with the same abilities as you to revise whatever you've done. So in English you would say pari, è un tuo pari, okay? And these two words have exactly the same sound. Okay, now we got all this and all this to do. First of all, We can watch the film. Okay. Now, tell me if you can hear him properly. And if you want me to slow it down, but you got subtitles, you got everything. If you don't want subtitles, you can always put something in front of it or then move it down, okay? But watch it even with subtitles. Ignore the subtitles if you don't want to. Okay.
Are you a hedgehog or a fox?
Can you hear it properly? Good.
Are you a hedgehog or a fox? Are you able to deeply focus on one specific activity, such as rolling up in a spiky ball and sleeping through the winter? Or are you alert to changing circumstances and keep your eyes and ears open to new threats and opportunities? My name's David Spiegelhalter, and I'm a statistician and fascinated by the problems of risk and prediction. Philosopher Isaiah Berlin wrote a famous essay, The Hedgehog and the Fox, after a famous poem by the Greek poet Archilochus, who said, "The fox knows many things, but the hedgehog knows one big thing."
Okay, so remember this one. This is important. You probably read the poem, and you probably remember it, but it's important. Okay.
Hedgehog knows one big thing. Think of the people you know, either privately or public figures. Are they hedgehogs with one overarching way of looking at the world through which they interpret all around them? Or are they foxes with no big principles of philosophy who muddle along, adapting to what turns up and changing their minds along the way? Politicians, of course, tend to be hedgehogs, but some are more pragmatic and foxy than others. Now, who would you trust most to make predictions about the future? A confident hedgehog or an uncertain and vacillating fox? This was put to the test in a long series of experiments by political scientist Philip Tetlock, who studied 284 experts, making 28,000 predictions about long-term events. Tetlock was looking at who predicted best. And mainly it made no difference whether the forecaster was an optimist or a pessimist, conservative or liberal. The only consistent pattern was how they thought, not what they thought. He found that foxes were much better at predicting than were hedgehogs. And hedgehogs were particularly poor at subjects of which they were experts. They were just too confident in their forecasts. A classic.
Okay. We can stop here because it's a bit long, so we can do the first 6 questions. Otherwise, you might forget the answers. Okay. Is it quite clear? Did you manage to understand it nicely? Good. So, the first question. Isaiah Berlin's essay, The Hedgehog and the Fox, was inspired by a line from an ancient Greek poet. Is it true or... Okay, it is true. Okay. According to the transcript or the video, hedgehogs focus on many small ideas at once. Is it true or false? Very good, it is false. Because it's quite the opposite, okay? Politicians are generally described as foxes rather than hedgehogs. Very good. Well, it says politicians, it says, tends to be hedgehogs. Okay. If you remember correctly, if you tend to be means your tendency is, and so it's quite the opposite. So this one is false. Oopsie, oopsie. And number four. Number four, foxes are described as adaptable and open to changing situations. Yeah, very good. Yes. And then we had this guy, Tetlock. Tetlock found that political beliefs, doesn't matter whether optimism or pessimism, strongly affected forecasting accuracy. Can you remember whether it was true or false or... Wait, I'll go back very slightly. Okay. Okay, this is the guy.
Philip Tetlock, who studied 284 experts, making 28,000 predictions about long-term events. Tetlock was looking at who predicted best. And mainly it made no difference.
So it made no difference whether the forecasters...
The forecaster was an optimist or a pessimist, conservative or liberal.
So let's go back to our question, number 5. So he found that political beliefs, optimism and pessimism, strongly affected. It made no difference. So it's false. Okay. Number 6. Still, Petlock found that hedgehogs were often overconfident in their prediction. Yeah, this is definitely true. Okay, now you got to be careful with this historian. And have you ever heard of this guy? Probably not. I'd never heard of him. Totally fell into obscurity, but it's quite interesting. Look what happened to him.
Only consistent pattern was how they thought, not what they thought. He found that foxes were much better at predicting than were hedgehogs. And hedgehogs were particularly poor at subjects of which they were experts. They were just too confident in their forecasts. A classic hedgehog was the historian Arnold Toynbee, who in 1947 was declared Time magazine's Man of the Year. Others wrote that he was the most renowned scholar in the world, or a universal sage, largely because his great work, A Study of History, spoke to the biggest fear of the time, that nuclear weapons were going to end civilization. Toynbee made the confident and comforting prediction that this wouldn't happen, because it was in opposition to his self-proclaimed scientific theory of history. Toynbee thought that Western civilization wasn't nearly done yet, because it hadn't reached the stage of universal government and a religious renaissance. All 23 civilizations he had studied had done so before they collapsed, and so would the West. He thought the golden age of universal government and religious observance would start around the year 2000. His peers were skeptical, and they were right. Today,
you see his peers, people like him with the same abilities, the same skills, and etc. And they were skeptical, and they were right.
And they were right. Today, Toynbee is hardly remembered, except perhaps as a classic hedgehog.
Okay, let's answer these questions then. Number 7, historian Arnold Toynbee believed nuclear weapons would definitely destroy civilization. Okay. Are you sure? He predicted it wouldn't happen. So it's false. It predicted quite the opposite, that he said that it wouldn't happen because we still had to go through this fantastic period of religious everything, and then maybe we would collapse definitely. But he got it all wrong. And today, historian Howden Turnby is scarcely remembered. This is true instead. You see, hardly, scarcely. Okay, now you can watch the rest.
They were right. Today, Toynbee is hardly remembered, except perhaps as a classic hedgehog. In his book, Future Babble, Dan Gardner identifies 3 characteristics of good forecasters. Number 1, aggregation. They use multiple sources of information, are open to new knowledge, and are happy to work in teams. Number 2, metacognition. They have an insight into how they think and the biases they might have, such as seeking evidence that simply confirms preset ideas. Number 3, humility. They have a willingness to acknowledge uncertainty, admit errors, and change their minds. Rather than saying categorically what is going to happen, they are only prepared to give probabilities to future events, acknowledging, in the words of that great sage Donald Rumsfeld, both the known unknowns and the unknown unknowns. So when someone is telling you what is in store for you, the country, the world, just ask yourself, are they a hedgehog or a fox?
Okay.
Had done so before they collapsed, and so would the West. He thought. Today, Toynbee is hardly remembered,
I just wanted
except perhaps as a classic hedgehog. In his book, Future Babble, Dan gutters of information, are open to new knowledge, and are happy
so
to...
we can go back here if we need it. So, in his book, Future Babble, Dan Gardner identifies 3, yes, definitely 3. And did you hear the way he pronounced metacognition? Because again, gn becomes yeah, and that's the sound. And good forecasters tend to avoid admitting mistakes. Is it true or false? Very good. It is false. Because I think the 3rd characteristic is humility. And humility, you admit your errors. 11. Good forecasters prefer to give probabilities rather than absolute prediction. Very good, yes. And the transcript suggests that fox-like thinkers are generally more reliable forecasters than hedgehogs. Yeah, what do you think? In general, fox-like, yeah. What do you think is true? So it is true. Yes, because again, hedgehogs sometimes are a bit too self-confident, and so and that they cannot see other options. Okay, and now if you just choose one word, one of the 2. This is just to remember some words. According to the transcript, hedgehogs focus on one, big or small? Oopsie, oopsie, oopsie. One big thing. It's the very beginning, they just focus. Unfortunately, they have one thing, the big thing, and that's it. And foxes are described as being able to adapt to changing plans or circumstances. Very good. And foxes tend to muddle or plan along. So now you have the muddle. And Philip Look, studied 284 amateurs or experts making predictions. They were experts, definitely. And still him, TechTalk analyzed over 28,000 predictions or facts. Really good. And TechTalk concluded that how people think or vote matters more than what they believe. Yeah, think. And hedgehogs were often too insecure or too confident. Okay, very good, confident. And Toynbee believed Western civilization had not yet reached the stage of universal government or knowledge. I think it was government, I think it was the government. Go and check, but I'm pretty sure it was the government. And good forecasters use multiple sources of information or choices. Yeah, very good sources. And now, good forecasters are willing to express prediction in terms of certainties or probabilities. Probabilities. And humility includes admitting errors and not changing or changing. Definitely changing your mind. And the last one, I just want one word. The transcript advises listener to ask whether someone is a hedgehog or a fox. Yeah. Right, very good. End of story. I hope you liked it. I'll send to you the transcript. It was quite interesting. And in the good thing is that the man is very clear. I mean, I think it's very clear. Kind of normal, plain, normal accent, and nothing. It's not too fast, not too slow, so it's quite good. If you want, we still have 10 minutes. If you want, we can do one item of news just to throw in. And let me see if I can find it. Okay, BBC. Yeah, why not? Okay. And of course, I mean, these days we always have President Trump as first item. Okay.
BBC News with Danielle Yawowiecka.
Wait, Danielle. Wait, Danielle. 1 second. I have to move everybody out here, otherwise I can't see. I have to pull you back. Okay. Listen to the news, fill in the gaps, and answer the question. First, just listen. It's quite long, and then I have some questions for you.
President Trump has dismissed suggestions he's willing to break apart the NATO alliance over his desire to acquire Greenland. Mr. Trump insisted a deal over the Arctic territory was possible and NATO members would be very happy. Meanwhile, the main US stock indices have fallen about 2% as investors react to the crisis over Greenland and the risk of a transatlantic trade war. Europe and Asia also saw falls.
Is she too quick, do you think? Is she all right? Do you want me to slow her down? No, too quick. Okay. Yeah, we can try for once. It's just slowing someone down. It's very, very little. Okay, I'm not slowing kind of something like 30%. I'm just slowing 10%. Okay, just listen to her again. I'll stop so you tell me the words I missed out.
BBC News with Danielle Yawowiecka. President Trump has dismissed suggestions he's willing to break a...
Very good. Very good. Dismissed suggestions. He's willing.
He's willing to break apart the NATO alliance over his desire to acquire Greenland.
NATO. Very good. Alliance. It's just one alliance. It's not more than one. It's the NATO. They formed an alliance. Is desire. You know that there must be two. Can you remember? Okay, I'll just go back because this is very interesting.
Trump has dismissed suggestions he's willing to break apart the NATO alliance over his desire to acquire Greenland. Mr. Trump...
Very good. Yes. Acquire Greenland. Okay. Remember, very often the brain, when you try to understand what someone is talking about, sometimes you get two words and you compress them into one. So acquire Greenland can become agreement. And it's wrong because it's acquire Greenland. You see, I acquire, but of course this R goes half missed because the next word starts with a G. And so that's the reason why sometimes you understand acquire agreements is acquire, don't forget about the R, Greenland, okay? Okay.
Alliance over his desire to acquire Greenland. Mr. Trump insisted a deal over the...
Insisted, very good. A deal, okay, insisted that, etc., etc., etc. But that you don't need it because you can skip it, or you can say insisted on a deal, or you can insisted that a deal, because you see, insisted on a deal, full stop. But insisted that a deal over the other was possible. So if I carry on, I don't want the on.
Desire to acquire Greenland. Mr. Trump insisted a deal over the Arctic territory was possible.
The Arctic territory, very good. Was possible.
And NATO members would be very happy.
Oh yeah. And NATO members, yeah, would be very happy, overjoyed, would be very happy. Okay, very good. Now you have the first word there.
was possible, and NATO members would be very happy. Meanwhile, the main US...
Very good. Meanwhile, again, meanwhile means in the middle of while, okay.
Happy. Meanwhile, the main US stock indices have fallen about 2%.
Very good. Yeah. Have fallen. You see, present perfect, because meanwhile means before and up to now. And so you need a present perfect.
Have fallen about 2% as investors react to the crisis over Greenland and the risk of a
crisis. Yes. You see that now you start understanding the famous green over Greenland with a capital G, otherwise I get the wiggles. Okay, over, remember, is another word the Italians always say over, is over, okay, over Greenland.
as investors react to the crisis over Greenland and the risk of a transatlantic trade war. Europe.
Good try, Silvio. Okay, trade war, Antonella, good try. Fine, Nicoletta, good is the trade war. Trade war. I know that war and war, the O is the same, it's just the ending. Listen to her.
Over Greenland and the risk of a transatlantic trade war. Europe and Asia also saw falls.
Trade is commerce, you know. I put tariffs on my exports, you put tariffs on yours, and I'm selling you over the Atlantic, and you selling me over the Atlantic. And so that could be a war because I'm charging you extra tariffs, and this is a form of war. Una guerra commerciale? Yes. Okay, very good. So, can you remember what's also very good? Yes. Saw, false. False. False more than one, because the markets and etc. Are not happy with all this. Okay, well, we can just do very quickly the first one or two. President Trump denied wanting to weaken NATO over Greenland. Is it true or false? It is true, because it's dismissed suggestions means say no, it's not true. He claimed NATO members would oppose any deal involving Greenland. Very good, it is false. And the last one, US stock markets fell partly because of fears of a trade conflict. Very good, yes, it is true. And what was Trump responding to? This is a different, just to see whether you like this kind of questions. Market pressure, NATO criticism, claims about breaking NATO apart, or European sanctions? Yeah, It's not a because it's Mr. Trump. It's not the market pressure, but claims he was responding. He dismissed suggestion that he's willing to break the NATO alliance. So claims about breaking NATO apart, break apart the NATO alliance. So it's this one. So then tell me whether you like these sort of questions. Now, we could stop here. And I'm going to send you. Okay. So I'm going to send you the video, the link to the video, so you can watch it again. The notes, the bit about the pronunciation, the assessment test. Maybe the assessment test, I'll send it tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. As soon as I have 5 minutes, all alone. So you start digesting it. And then the notes on the lesson and the setup. So I'll see you not next Thursday, but the one after. Well, have a nice evening. I hope you enjoyed your lesson. Next week, no lesson. No, Nicoletta, but you go, yeah. But I'll send you the assessment to do. So you're busy.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Good night.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Thank you.
Okay. I'm sort of trying
Good
to
night.
go
Bye.
and do some
night.
copy and paste of all your comments, if I can manage.